guys, you don't need to. Yeah, because it's... Ready?
We are Greyscale Theatre Company, and welcome to the factory. This video acts as a performance lecture, exploring the creative journey our company has been on since September 2020.
All I want is a country where we can all come together and cooperate for the sake of the people, and we can vote. And when you vote, you're using force, and force is violence, and violence is authority, and violence is the way that all other authorities are derived.
In September, we started with little to no idea of what this show was going to be. We knew we wanted to make theatre that was satirical, politically motivated, and unsettling.
Our ideas come from the things that happen around us, things that could happen, things that we're glad aren't happening, things that we wish would happen.
We began researching artists that had made satirical work. We figured exploring satire would be the best thing to begin with, as then we could add politics to it later on. But what is satire? Satire is a genre of literature and performing arts in which vices, follies, abuses and shortcomings are held up to ridicule, ideally with the intent of shaming individuals, corporations, government or society itself into improvement.
The three main types of satire. Horatian. Horatian satire is comic and offers light social commentary. It is meant to poke fun at a person or situation in an entertaining way. Juvenalian. Juvenalian satire is dark, rather than comedic. It is meant to speak truth to power. Menippean. Menippean satire casts moral judgment on a particular belief, such as homophobia or racism. It can be comic and light, much like Horatian satire, although it can also be as stinging as Juvenalian satire. Currently, our piece sits in the middle ground between Horatian and Juvenalian satire. We like having a blend of both, as they each offer us an opportunity to come up with the material. It also allows us to play with light and dark in terms of content and theme, and hopefully makes our message more direct and impactful.
We've found artists and shows we're already familiar with, as well as others that people recommended after our pitch culture, a little later on in the process. Some examples of these artists are David Lynch, David Firth and Samuel Beckett. As well as these key influences, we've been inspired by some more contemporary works such as Jam, Mitchell and Webb, The League of Gentlemen, What We Do in the Shadows, The Night Vale podcast, Don't Hug Me I'm Scared, Inside Number 9, and many, many more. There are many elements we've taken from these influences that we simply don't have time to get into, so for the purpose of mystery, we'll only be discussing the main artists that have inspired our work. However, to get more of an insight into who inspires us, you can read further in the description of this video, as well as follow a compilation of links to work that has inspired us.
You look mighty fine tonight, Prime Minister. I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all, when the sun comes shining through, to make those rainbows in my mind, when I think of you sometime, and I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us. Say this. We can make it if we try, just the two of us. Is he a box?
You're winding me up!
First we began with David Firth, who has influenced our work in quite a number of ways. Why? Because in his own words, Firth describes his work as silly, comical, dreamlike, pulled from a nightmare, but always very strange. His most notable work has always been Salad Fingers, but we've decided to take the majority of our inspiration from an ongoing series that he's created called the Sock series. In Firth's work, an explanation is never given directly. The flow of his pieces often resembles some form of vivid dream, and his darker works unfold like a lucid atrocity before the audience's eyes. His characters range from outright vicious, miserable, joyful, manic, or a combination of all traits, something which we've played with ourselves throughout the process. David Firth states that the reason he decided to branch into the territory of dreams for his main inspiration was due to the fact that it afforded him greater freedom than he was allowed to have in much more linear pieces of work, such as Salad Fingers. If you dream in real life in your sleep, when you wake up, you don't require an explanation for the dream itself. You simply accept it for what it is, despite how ludicrous or potentially upsetting it may have been for you.
It's the boy's birthday today. Be good.
This is thank you.
Okay. David Lynch. We've been inspired by David Lynch for the simple reason alone that he is a madman. The way Lynch can craft a scene of the uncanny without giving away a single detail of his intentions fascinates us to dive deeper into his work and pry out his techniques to use for our own. Our main takeaway from Lynch so far has been to embrace the wacky and work with the idea of mystery, not leaving everything up to the audience to figure out, but only having a handful of questions they might have answered during the piece. He has inspired us to aim for the uncanny, to create a scene in which the audience can't grasp onto reality. Inspiration we took from Lynch led mainly to how we develop a scene's atmosphere. For example, in one rehearsal we created what we refer to as chair monoliths, strange tall black chairs stacked one upon the other, reminiscing to Lynch's work producing a similar uncanny atmosphere.
You do this every time, you ruined his birthday.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It appears that one of you's forgot to do Chippendale this week, and we can't go without a dog. The only person exempt right now, as far as I see, is the birthday boy. So one of you best fulfil your duties, or it'll get violent.
I don't want to do it this week.
I don't know who.
As well as Lynch's atmospheric inspiration, we've also taken from a number of Samuel Beckett pieces, such as Not I and Play. We've liked his use of repetition and the use of specifically written instructions for his performers. These are elements that we've taken into our own devising process and have found useful when beginning to think about generating atmosphere, not only for us but also for our audience.
The focus of our piece started with a simple question. What happens when everything we love and enjoy doesn't exist anymore? We formed this question through looking at the world we are currently living in, or, more specifically, the shitty politics of the UK in relation to our own lives and experiences as individuals in a company. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, day-to-day life has never been more different and challenging. Having to be socially distant from friends and family, and the arts being neglected during the pandemic made us as a company wonder, what would an extreme version of this world look like?
Having trouble with your eyesight? Blurry vision stopping you from pretending to read just so people won't talk to you? Well, worry no more. Castle Contacts are here for you. It's never been easier to test your eyesight. All you need to do is follow these simple steps. Firstly, visit our website to register. We don't need your personal info, just a strand of your hair, the blood of your firstborn, and your card details. We won't take any money, but it's nice to know we can. Next, you'll need to locate a castle that's approximately 4.5 hours away from you. Next, Hop into your vehicle. Make sure to bring your ill wife and child along with you to really enhance your eye test experience. And finally, make sure that you have symptoms of a virus that's killed thousands of people before you travel. Well done. You have completed all the necessary steps and are 9 hours closer to completing your eye test with Castle Contacts. Warning. If you stop at any petrol stations, you may be picked up on CCTV, which may result in you having to give a shambolic excuse of a press conference in your garden to explain your behaviour and why you think you're above everyone else. So call us today to book your eye test. Don't know the number? No worries. If it's meant to be, you'll guess it.
What happens when there is no music, film, dance and theatre? How do you dance when you've forgotten how? How do you hold someone or be held when you haven't done it for years? How do you celebrate when there's no joy? How do humans react when man's best friend's gone extinct? It's questions like these that our company tries to explore weekly through physical practice and a different theatrical lens relating to our influences.
We created a rule in week 4. Someone must always be the dog. We introduced this rule as a way to encourage us to be playful. We agreed that even in a world lacking anything enjoyable, we couldn't imagine it without a dog. Having this rule has made us more observant of what's going on in the space during weekly improv sessions and who is doing what. It also makes us more aware of each other, and we each have an equal responsibility to make sure that someone is the dog at all times.
I'm tired.
We're on gravy granules and you'll enjoy it.
No, new man.
New man!
Congratulations.
Self-wrapping!
You're a fucking cocksucker, 282.
This one is wet.
Over my dead body.
The next train to arrive at platform 1 will be the 0703 Trans-Pennine Express Service to nowhere.
This'll end with my hands round your throat.
I hope it does.
Only in the movies.
Fierce.
Don't touch me in my no-no square.
We've already been over what the dog was. Put your hand up if you like to beat dog.
Isn't anybody going to ask me what I've done?
Please take a seat, Prime Minister. We're just deciding who wants to beat dog.
I don't want to be the dog today.
I don't know.
I was the dog last time, I can't do it again.
It is currently the birthday wish of the birthday boy that I be exempt. I suggest that somebody volunteers or gets voluntold to beat dog.
What's the name of the boy?
Chippendale.
No, the boy.
Oh.
Research by German psychologists Anna Steider and Lioba Wirth was published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology exploring this very question. Their research suggests that a darkened room encourages freedom of thought and inspires innovation.
Both psychologists report that darkness increases freedom from constraints, which in turn promotes creativity. They also explain that a dimly lit or dark environment elicits a feeling of freedom, self-determination, and reduced inhibition, all of which can be thought to encourage creative thinking. We have found as a company that we are more prone to sitting still and talking when sat in a well-lit room. That isn't particularly a negative thing, as talking and communicating throughout this process has allowed us to discuss ideas and frameworks for the piece, whilst also allowing us the opportunity to check in with each other.
I think he should be called Arthur.
No.
Okay. I'm trying to fit in. Happy birthday to you.
To the boy.
Boy.
Happy
birthday to you. You don't deserve this.
Stop clapping.
During our dark rehearsals, we have found that we are more experimental. We are rarely seated and are rarely still. The darkness of the space encourages us to explore the ways in which our bodies can move, protected by the cover of the shadows. Dark rehearsals also heighten our other senses. One of the outcomes of this is that we found we use our voices differently. In the dark, we've noticed that we speak slower and louder as the words disappear into the void. This discovery is something that has affected our work and is something that helps us to maintain our unsettling chosen aesthetic for spoken word throughout our piece.
We also took inspiration for these dark rehearsals from David Firth, who will often sit in abandoned houses to spark his imagination for a new project. Firth also uses his dreams and nightmares to provide him with material and has even said, "What is wrong with nightmares? They're like good horror films that you actually believe are real, and then you wake up unharmed with something to think about."
This is similar to what we want to achieve with our piece. We want to unsettle our audience and keep them uncomfortably engaged so that when they leave, they have something to think about. If ever we feel ourselves getting lost in our work, we return to the darkness.
Another rule we follow as a company is each week we bring in a number of items we can play with. We're going to quickly run through these objects now. Cling film. Cling film produced the character of man and is influenced from devising of the man rap section.
A bell. This tested our patience but was also used to explore timings. We used the bell as an audio cue for movement.
Remember noise for the dog, everybody. That's all a true wolf. That's what the textbooks say.
Which one, number 2 or 3?
Home gardening section on page 2 of Time Weekly magazine.
Okay, Wolf. Is my duty done?
No.
The boy didn't like it.
On all fours, at which point the dog shall be ridden gently onward forward.
May I receive a treat?
Yes. Open wide.
Matches encouraged us to think about the aesthetic contrasts of light and dark as well as sense. We liked how the smell of smoke from a match made us visualise different things.
A cardboard sign. One side said, "This is a sign," and the other side said, "Future accountant." Using signs made us think about how we use words and silence. We also thought about the symbolism of a sign. For example, how they're often used in protests and seen within homelessness. Signs are often used as a way to try and provoke change.
The red sock. Transformed into a puppet called Bohemian Jonathan, or Bojo for short, influenced a piece of satirical writing.
Vaseline and treacle. Used as a way to explore the visual aesthetics of man rap's skin under the cling film. Made us think about the rebirth of man.
Puppet number 1. The boy. A 4-foot-tall puppet made from tights named Timothy Bojangles, or the boy. I took stylistic inspiration from the characters used in David Firth's work, specifically the character of Hubert Cumberdale in Salad Fingers. Puppet number 2. The boy. A baby-sized puppet made from tights and filled with the news named Oliver, or the boy. I made this from a reimagining of the Little Meat Boy from week 3 combined with stylistic influence from David Firth. There are rules for the boy. He must never be left alone, and only he can grant you permission to hold him.
And alarm dialogue.
I didn't know who I was till I came back into the factory, but now that I've found people who are the same, definitely the same as me, I can finally find peace.
Maybe we should take a walk.
I don't know. I feel like I should probably stay sat down. I'm gonna move now.
I'm about 2 seconds away from coming over there and snapping your fucking neck.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
You reckon you could actually stop me? If I physically walked over there now and fucking killed you
The
in front of
Prime
everyone,
Minister would have you arrested. I'm just a normal Joe like you. Don't mind me. I'm gonna fade into the background and maybe eat some grey.
He'll have your guts for gartering. So who is this piece intended for? Realistically, the piece is for York St John's audience. They will most likely be the first to see our completed company performance. But we also have to think about the potential of an online audience, depending on the circumstances surrounding the pandemic when we're due to perform. If this is the case, we have plans to record a small feature film of what would have been our live performance. This again would be firstly available to a York St John audience before possibly going public.
Demographic-wise, we hope to reach a wide range of people, from those who class themselves as political to those who are quietly keeping up with the day-to-day current events. We want to reach theatre lovers and even welcome those who still after all this time don't see the value and importance of arts practice, despite them using and relying on Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, going to the cinema and indeed the theatre.
Basically, so long as you can confirm that you are not Boris Johnson, that you are in no way affiliated to Boris Johnson, that you will not be viewing our performance on behalf of Boris Johnson, or are an associate of Boris Johnson, then the door to view our performance will always be open. We would, however, discourage anyone from bringing children to the performance. They'll learn what the world's like soon enough, and also, we don't want to be the reason why they end up in therapy.
Well, it's not all rainbows and fucking sunshine in your life, is it?
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm gonna fucking go there and I get fucking covered in treacle and I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Shut up! I didn't even want the fucking kid! And I can't even look after it!
Yeah,
I've got nothing!
You touched him before you gave him a big old kiss and I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
I know who you are. You're the love of my life. And I want to fucking come over there and give you the good smooch, but the kids watching anime cool.
This is why we don't have parties.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to do something nice.
Well, you didn't.
For everybody.
Now, thanks to
I
you,
just wanted
the
to
boys
get
upstairs,
something,
there's no
and
singing,
everybody
no
to have a
dancing,
dance,
no food, and
everybody
it's
to
all
have a
thanks
good
to
time,
you
and
and your
I
party.
just want everybody to get along.
the child's dead. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it.
No, don't.
Goodbye. I'll take care of this.
Overall, the point of our piece is to explore the corners of humanity. What makes us human, and what makes us not human.
The intended message is...
In ecological terms, the human is not central, but a constituent element. The factory acts as a reminder that we do not run the world, we simply exist inside of it. The intent is to be a grounding, political experience.
I apologise for shouting earlier on behalf of the house.
Doesn't mean it's right though, does it?
No. I apologise, but I want you to all know that it was your fault, really.
This is the one song I can remember.
When I first saw you, something stirred within me. You were standing softly in the rain. If I could have held you, I would have held you. Rip it up
It might be time for me to retire.
Go euthanize you.
Good night, everyone.
never meant to call